All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we are going to be going over great ways, in fact, magic ways to keep in contact with your sphere of influence, also sometimes known as your SOI. So when you look at the NAR data and you look at just where deals come from for the vast majority of agents, it is your sphere of influence. It is referrals. So that should be the thing that you focus on most. So a lot of people, they want to spend a lot of money on getting leads from Zillow and, Realtor.com and all these other places, but the vast majority of your deals will still come from your sphere of influence and from your SOI. So we always want to be going over great ways to connect with them and to make sure that we are doing everything we can to maximize those deals. So before we get into, and Bill Seitz, corporate broker of Alta Realty Group, normally joins us. He won't be joining us today. He is out slaying dragons and making real estate dreams come true. So he will not be joining us today. But he did mention that he is, and the recruiters, we always get questions about certain things. And a lot of agent questions can be answered by going to the Agent Resource Center on our corporate website. So, corporate website, of course, is arghome.net. And to get to the Agent Resource Center, you just hover your cursor over agents and then click on the Agent Resource Center. So, this is where you can order marketing materials. You can sign up for Canva if you haven't done it. More importantly, you can also connect with Clearview Mortgage Legacy Escrow. You can click on to our training videos, which goes to our YouTube channel. But this is a really good and important tab right here, the Human Resources tab. So let me just click on this real quick. So this is where you can download our preferred vendor list in our ARG directory. So let me just click on this. Super helpful to download and or print this up. This has the contact information for everybody in the company, not and including Lauren Nowak, who is our compliance officer, Raquel Bauer from Legacy Escrow, DJ Bibb from Fidelity Title, Amelia Hollow from Clearview Mortgage, and our corporate officers as well. So Don Kearney, information right here, Courtney in the marketing department, Jackie, Abidon Franco, the CFO, and Tim Mano, our other recruiter, and myself and Bill Seitz. So super helpful to have that on standby. And literally, I've had a lot of agents just print that out, have it on their desk. Makes it very easy to contact who you need to contact when you need to contact them. Also, in the Human Resources tab is you are able to download our ARG E&O policy. You're also able to download the affiliated business arrangement disclosure notice, which everybody needs for every deal. And you also can download our W-9. So this is our corporate W-9. Occasionally you'll have somebody ask for that, which has our corporate EIN number. So that's an important thing to be able to access as well. So Bill suggested I go over that, so we did. Um, but let's get into today's presentation. We have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that tab, and we are going to go straight into sphere of influence marketing. So sphere of influence marketing is, of course, marketing to the people that you know, the people that are in your life, people that you've met in other industries, in other, things that you do in life, churches, sports teams, really anything um, that you do that's not, and even real estate. But I like to think of sphere of influence as the other things that you do in your life and who you know. So, really important to, first of all, identify who these people are. Of course, these people should be in your CRM. And we do use the Sierra Interactive CRM. A lot of other good CRMs out there. As long as you have one, that's all we have. That's the most important thing. So this is actually an article I found, and it came out from Follow Up Boss. Follow Up Boss is another great CRM, and it has some similar tools that the Sierra interactive CRM has. So one really great thing that I found is, and as most of you know that are on these webinars all the time, I am always talking about sphere of influence. And so sometimes I like to see what other people have to say about how you market to your sphere of influence. So this was a pretty cool article I found. I'll, of course, include the link to this article in the replay that I put out. So the number one thing that they say to connect with your sphere of influence is pick up the phone. Duh. So it says, the world of real estate, in the world of real estate, the good old-fashioned phone call is still one of the best tools for nurturing your leads, including any hot prospects in your sphere of influence, just waiting to hear for you. So here's a couple tips to help you get back on the horn with your sphere of influence. So you want to definitely start with the contacts you're most familiar with, especially if you're new to sphere of influence marketing and you just, you kind of want to dip your toe in the sphere of influence marketing world. You want to start with the contacts you're most familiar with because it's going to, you're going to be able to connect with them a lot easier. It'll help you hone what you say to the rest of the sphere of influence. So it's a really good idea to start there. And so one of the things they also recommend is to read your existing phone scripts out loud. So I'm going to include these scripts, and I've had a lot of good feedback from the last uh, webinar that we did last week. Had some templates that people can just use just straight out of the box, don't have to change anything. And so I thought that this was a great thing that I stumbled across that has scripts and has different templates of what you can do, and you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So, so read your scripts out loud, update your scripts to make sure that they feel natural. So if you get one of these scripts and you say, that's not really, my style, just change it slightly to make sure that it sounds natural, like something you would actually say. You don't want to pretend like you're somebody else. So these are some really, really good scripts. So I'll just read a couple of these. So you say, "Hi, my name's Kevin Lauren." Or you say, "Hi, John. My name's Kevin Lauren. Um, how's everything been with you in the new home?" That's fantastic. Hey, I was wondering if you know anyone who's looking to buy a home soon in your area, right? And so they would, you of course, let them speak, and then you say, "Hey, you listen. I definitely appreciate it if you can provide me with their contact information. I'd love to connect with them to see if I can help out. Would that be okay?" So something just, these are just nice, naturally sounding scripts. They're not overbearing. The one thing that you do want to do is you don't want to just come out super quickly and just, be like, sell, home, home, home. So one of the methods that this writer recommends is use the family, recreation, occupation, and goals. So they call it the frog method, okay? And I think that's a really good idea. So if you're using the frog method, you're structuring what you say based on one of these four things, because these four things are things that people like to open up about. They like to talk about their family, they like to talk about recreation, their occupation, and their goals. So I think that's a really cool thing to keep in mind when you're making these outbound phone calls. And actually, that goes into all the other different touches that we're going to talk about next. So a touch, of course, is just, it could be a phone call, it could be a text, it could be an email, it could be a social media, reach out. But a touch you can just think of as a communication or a connection that you make with someone in your sphere of influence. So the next aspect is text messaging. So, you know, especially now in the modern real estate toolkit, text messaging is a power drill. So when it's wielded carefully, it can become a key component of your SOI strategy. So one thing that you, or the things that you want to keep in mind are, you want to be able to check in regularly with a friendly hello. You want to share real estate market updates, alerts, new listing information, recent sales. Send event invitations for, open houses, webinars, customer events, all that kind of thing. And you also want to make sure that you're keeping these texts super brief. So really, really important to just, keep these texts brief. Don't say too much, but they are a powerful touch. And everybody's got their phones right on them, so they are very powerful. And you don't want to abuse them. So, especially with people in your sphere of influence, you want to develop a mix of the right phone calls, text messages, emails, and possibly even, social messaging. So, again, they provide us with a couple of different text message templates. And you can click on this little link and it pulls up the text message templates. Super easy. But a couple of them go like this. Hi, John. Just wanted to say hello and see how you're doing. If you need any real estate assistance or have any questions, I'm here for you. Stay well. Hope to hear from you soon. Or a recent life event. Sometimes you'll come across a, social media post of somebody in your sphere of influence and you send them a quick text. Say, hey, John, I was thinking about you the other day when I saw you on Instagram or Facebook, and your wife or your significant other just opened up a new bakery. Congratulations. Can't wait to come on in and try, whatever your specialty is, right? So, do you have time for a quick call this week? I'd love to reconnect, hear more about what you're up to, and then your name. And that is an important thing with these text messages is normally when you send a text message, you don't put your name at the bottom, but I think it's important to put your first name at the bottom of these text messages because there is a chance that they don't have you in their phone book. So, kind of important to just make sure that you're always letting them know who you are and how they know you. So a couple of other little templates they have here is, hey Sally, how are you? How's the family? I was thinking you might want to know about the true value of your place in these, what the true value of your place is these days, even just out of curiosity. I think you'll be surprised. Want to grab a coffee and walk through it? John, right? So again, it's a good idea to check in with people in your sphere of influence, especially people that you've sold homes to make sure that they know exactly what the value of their home is currently. And this is something that it should just be built into your yearly plan. And it's probably a good idea to do it quarterly. But really an easy touch. It's a natural thing that you would do. They almost expect it, so it's not just coming out of left field. So people that you've sold homes to, absolutely, you want to be sending some form of a follow-up text and email and phone call to try to get them to sit down and take a look at exactly what their home's worth. Send better emails. Yes, email is an essential part of successful SOI strategy. And so, this is important to build in, a really good email program to be occasionally saying hi to people in your sphere of influence. So, of course, in our Sierra Interactive um, CRM, you can create action plans. So the action plans are, let me get into the account action plans. The action plans are series of text messages, emails, and even voicemails. So let's just go to a follow-up CRM, or I'm sorry, action plan. So the first day you would give them a voicemail, and maybe that same day they'll get a text message and an email. So if they don't get, they'll get all three, of course, but you're really making sure that they get your info. And so for a sphere of influence action plan, it would be not as much of every day, right? A sphere of influence action plan, it would be more like one email, text, or voicemail a month, but you could build it out over the course of a year. So you can see that this particular one, it's hitting them every day. So, not really what you would want to do for a successful sphere of influence marketing campaign. As you can see, you can add as many as you want, but what I would do for a sphere of influence campaign is I would do, one today, one in 2 or 3 weeks, and then stagger it out to where they're pretty much getting like either a text message, an email, or a voicemail once a month. So you're just getting that little touch and that little reminder and the little tap on the shoulder to make sure that they know that you're the person still doing real estate. I always say that it's not your client's responsibility to remember that you're the guy or the girl doing real estate. It's your responsibility to remind them. And so you have to do it in a way that doesn't bother them, right? So sending better emails and doing a kind of a long-term nurture campaign, that is what keeps you top of mind throughout the year. And so I there's a lot of different email templates in here that we can use. I showed you guys a few good ones last week. And so if anybody needs additional templates, you can always just ping me and I'll get you a few of them. But you can also in this when I send you this link to this article, there are 3-year nurture plans. There are all kinds of different different nurture campaigns that you can access directly from this link. So another way to connect is to show up as yourself on social media, right? I have a lot of agents that do a really good job of this. They just are, at least sending something about, at least once a week, but some of them every day, just stuff that they're doing, their personal life, what they're up to, and then occasionally they'll put out something about, selling real estate. And I think that's really an important thing because the people in your sphere of influence, they don't want to get bombarded with just, here's a home. Here I am doing more sales on a home. Here's another listing that just popped up. That's great, and that does help you keep it top of mind, but you can actually get them to engage and to be interested in what you're doing if you just show up as yourself on social media. Here I am on a vacation or on a trip, or this is something I'm doing on the weekend. Things like that are a little bit more genuine, and you do get a little bit more, genuine interest in what you're doing. And then, of course, you're peppering in every once in a while. Hey, yeah, I do sell real estate. And then when you combine that with a few emails, phone calls, text messages, that's the marketing mix that I think that really creates that magic that gets you those referrals. So, number 5, this is my favorite, and you all know this who've been listening to me for years. Go the extra step with handwritten notes. Handwritten notes are, first of all, they're not hard to do, and they don't have to be some long-winded thing. Just literally like 2 sentences or one sentence. But a handwritten note goes a long way. Send it, through the regular mail. And when people receive those, they understand that you took that time. And uh, spoiler alert, it doesn't take that much time. It's pretty easy. So go ahead and do them. And, so here's a couple of different reasons to send a handwritten note. After a successful closing, obviously. Anniversary of home purchase or the house anniversary, for sure. Thank you notes for referrals. Why the heck not? Birthdays, holidays, and festive occasions, and anything else that you can think of that would warrant a quick handwritten note. I guarantee if you focus and send out handwritten notes to your sphere of influence 4 times a year, they will refer business to you and they will not forget about you, especially when you combine that with these other touches. Send automatic postcards and mailers. Absolutely. These are not dead. I think this is an important part of your marketing mix, especially to your sphere of influence and most importantly, your farm. So DJ Bibb can help you guys with this. I was just working with, or Bill and I were just working with Jeff Brown out in Norco, and he just got a great list from DJ. I think it was only a couple of $100. It had all the information of the homeowners. I think he got about 200 or 300 names. Not all of them had emails, but quite a few of them did. And so, really, really important to get those lists and to make sure that you're sending out automated postcards and mailers. They're not that expensive. And if you're doing that at least once a quarter, I think it's a really important part of your overall marketing mix. So another thing that you can do when you are sending out these mailers is pick your A list and send them, you can send them little presents like a little box of brownies or, some cookies or something like that. Those things go so long. I mean, they go a long way. And people really, when you're sending out something like that, you get noticed for sure. So, very important to take your A-listers and send them a little gift, you know? So, number 7, host regular customer events. I talk about this all the time. At least once or twice a year, you should do a customer appreciation event. You can do these in a number of different ways. You can do them at your house. You can do them at the local coffee shop. You can do them at the local pizza place or the local ice cream parlor. Really not hard thing to do. And you don't have to be real salesy in these. You're just, inviting people to come hang out, chat. Other things is, host a barbecue, a wine tasting experience, so all of those little things are reasons to have a really cool client appreciation event is what I normally call them. Number 8 is host community and charity events. Absolutely. I think everybody also knows that one of my big things that I think all realtors should be doing is giving back to the community that they serve. So our charity that we support is called Bash Cancer Fest. It's actually coming up on November 8th. We don't do anything salesy, to be honest. We do zero salesy stuff there, but we invite the entire community to come out to see 4 bands. We get the local wineries, the local breweries to donate. We get all kinds of people to donate things for our silent auction and for our raffle. And we get the local pizza place to donate pasta and pizza, and we raise money for local families that are battling cancer, especially for children. And so that's coming up. The beneficiary of our event is called Jack's Helping Hand and the Teddy Bear Foundation. And so, what's great about both of those groups is every dime that we raise goes directly to the kids and the families. As you guys probably know, some charities they have some beefy uh, positions where people actually get a salary. That's not how this works. So every dime that we raise goes directly to the families. So I invite all of you to create some kind of a charity event. And this is something that my wife and I and my best pal, we were sitting on a beach one day, and all of us had experiences with people that had, either passed away or fought cancer. And we said, we need to do something. And so that was 7 years ago. This is our eighth annual, or actually our seventh annual, but the first year we kind of did a quasi one. But this is the seventh annual, and everybody can do this. It just takes time, and it just takes a little bit of effort, and you can get people to donate. And so the three of us end up donating a couple $1,000, every year, but we get the entire community to donate. And so last year we raised over $30,000. And I think over the 7 years, we're up to about $120,000. So really cool stuff. So everybody, you can do this. It really shows who you are as a person. And through the course of, doing these charities, you're talking with people and you're just, basically telling people what you do, but it's not a salesy event. So that one you're just giving back. Number 9 is planned pop buys and reverse pop buys. Well, what the heck are reverse pop buys? So pop buys are just, and you don't want to just stop by unannounced. You want to, at least send a text message and or a phone call and just say, hey, I'm stopping by your home or your office. Just wanted to, and if you're doing a pop by, bring a gift. You have to have some form of, thing to offer. You don't want to just show up out of nowhere. You can, but it's way more effective if you stop by with, a little gift, a little, bag of cookies or a small, little plant or a succulent or something of that effect. And then reverse pop buys are inviting them to come to your office or your event. And then another thing you can do is you can, schedule dinners, with a colleague or with a, person that's constantly referring you business. Take them out to dinner, right? Take them out to lunch. And then the 10th is offer annual equity presentations. Well, absolutely, that should go without saying. On the anniversary of you selling or getting somebody to buy a home, you want to make sure that you are checking in with them, making sure that they know exactly what the equity in their home is now. You can look all this stuff up, you can present that to them. Some of them may know, some of them may not know, but at least you are putting your information out there. You're making sure that they have it, and it's that solid touch that makes you, in their eyes, the real estate professional that knows exactly what's going on in the market, and that goes a long way. That is the kind of thing that leads to referrals. So really all of these different touches lead to referrals, they lead to more business. As we always talk about, it takes about 50 real estate conversations to get to an actual sale. And so plan ahead. Make sure that you're having at least 50 of these conversations every month, and that will get you to a sale every month. So, really an interesting article here. I also do like their last bits here. So, when you're doing this sphere of influence marketing, you have to have a daily plan, a weekly plan, monthly plan, quarterly plan, right? And so this is a good little blueprint right here on how you can structure your plan. And you can take this, morph it, make it your own, but daily ask at least 3 contacts if they know anyone with a genuine interest in buying or selling a home. Engage with your SOI on social media for an hour. So for some of you, that's no problem at all. For others, that might be a stretch. Reach out to contacts created less than 10 days ago that you haven't had a conversation with or attempt contact within 12 plus hours. And then weekly, ask past client if they would be willing to write your review. That's cool. Have lunch or dinner with a member of your sphere of influence. Call a top referrer. Contact a new prospect that you haven't attempted to contact in 3 days or more. So I'm going to make sure that you guys have all of these, these schedules of how and why you should be contacting people within your sphere of influence. So that is all I have for you guys today. If Bill Seitz was with us, he would let us know what his takeaways are. But before we hop off the line, just going to pull up the 10-year treasury. So again, the 10-year treasury is right around that 4% mark, keeping things nice and low. Again, last week I said, great time to reach out to everybody in your sphere of influence. Make sure that they know where interest rates are and where mortgage rates are. So perfect excuse to contact people in your sphere of influence and let them know what's happening in the market. So if there's one thing that you can do today, that's it. And you can take your sphere of influence marketing to the very next level by going through all of these steps and making sure that you are the agent that everybody respects in your market. So with that said, everybody, get out there, make it a great week and a productive week, and we'll see all of you on the webinar next Wednesday. Thank you very much.